In other international news, the British government is joining forces with Turkey to crack down on people smuggling gangs. The agreement will include sharing intelligence to take coordinated action against smugglers. It comes after the UK government was accused of disastrous failure over its asylum policies. Abby Kugadasan joins us now with more. Abby, what more can you tell us about this deal?
Yeah, as part of this deal to mitigate those boat crossings, they'll set up a center to coordinate efforts. British officers will offer support to their Turkish counterparts. But what's not in this deal, a returns policy. That's what some here are highlighting. Before Brexit, the United Kingdom could send people back safely to Turkey and about two other dozen countries, but no longer a member of the EU. They're not party to the Dublin Agreement, which allows for this. In terms of this latest deal, it's also not clear how much funding London will provide to Ankara, but The Guardian is reporting that about £3 million was provided last year as part of Britain's efforts to stop the dinghies and small boats crossing the Channel. There were about 45,000 people who arrived that way last year. There has been a slight dip so far this year, and this is one of the priorities for the Sunak government. They say people smugglers and criminal gangs are putting the lives of these desperate migrants at risk, but critics say the government is also not alleviating the risk because it only allows people from Hong Kong and Ukraine to apply for asylum from outside the United Kingdom.
The British government has also made the small boats issue kind of central to its platform. Can you talk to us about the controversial barge that's meant to actually house some people?
It is controversial. This is a three-story barge that arrived in the UK some days ago. It is meant to house single men, about 500 of them, for anywhere between 3 to 9 months as their claims are being processed. So far, less than 24 have boarded the vessel. And there are concerns from rights groups about the fire safety on the barge, for example. And the immigration minister here says anyone who refuses to live on the barge, if they're given that offer, will be left on their own. Let's have a listen.
Well, they would have to make their own arrangements for accommodation. If you're destitute, you have nowhere to live, then it's right the government steps in and provides decent accommodation for you. But there's a limit to that, and if people don't want to take it, then that's a matter for them.
Now, the British government says this barge is part of a solution to cut costs because hotels are far too expensive. But it's worth noting the vessel can only hold about 1% of the 50,000 asylum seekers currently in hotels. There's another issue, too, backlog. About 173,000 people are waiting in the UK for refugee claims to be processed. Again, further criticism here that if the UK allowed refugee claimants to work right away, it would save taxpayers billions of pounds. It was a Labour government in the early 2000s that upheld that employment ban. And as the opposition now, Labour has certainly criticized this government, but has not made their plans to prevent small boat crossings very clear, Deanna.
Thank you so much, Abby. That's Abby Kugadasan on the story for us.